So I want to talk about a couple things. I want to talk about the implications of what just happened earlier today in the Oval Office with President Trump, J.D. Vance, uh, and Vladimir Zelensky in Ukraine. And then I'm going to talk about why Donald Trump hates Zelensky in Ukraine. Who was watching that interaction between them today? Europe was watching. European leaders watched that, and they are going to rally behind Ukraine in a way that they never have up to this point, even though they've dollar for dollar, they've provided more aid to Ukraine than the United States has. They will rally behind Ukraine. And I think after that interaction, I mean, following that shouting match where Donald Trump berated Zelensky on live TV, Donald Trump canceled a joint press conference between the two of them, said that Zelensky's not ready for peace. And Donald Trump defines peace as doing everything that Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump want Zelensky to do. They're a sovereign nation. They are our ally. And after this thing, Zelensky was supposed to sign a deal with the United States, giving the United States or pledging $500 billion worth of Ukrainian resources and precious metals to the United States to pay back the United States when the United States hasn't even given $200 billion in aid. Zelensky should cancel that agreement. And Zelensky should tell Trump and J.D. Vance to fuck off. And Zelensky should leave and go to Europe and say, okay, guys, this is where we're at. And Trump has set up a circumstance where Zelensky can turn his back on the United States, because why not at this point? What's the upside? What is the upside for Zelensky and Ukraine to maintain any kind of relationship with Donald Trump in the United States? What's the upside? And if Zelensky and Europe team up even more than they already have, and Zelensky defeats Putin anyway, without the United States, then the only thing that Donald Trump has accomplished with his little dog and pony show today is making the United States irrelevant. We've gone from being a superpower to on the verge of irrelevancy because of Donald Trump. And we're not even 6 weeks in. Think about all of that. Why does Donald Trump hate Zelensky and Ukraine? Trump didn't even know that Ukraine was a country before 2016. And when it became clear that Russia was interfering in the 2016 election using Facebook and data from Facebook through Cambridge Analytica, they were interfering in the 2016 election on behalf of Donald Trump's campaign. Then people on the right came up with a conspiracy theory that actually it was Ukraine who was interfering in the 2016 election on behalf of Hillary Clinton. And during 2016, 2017, 2018, anytime people brought up Russian election interference, Trump would always say, actually, it was Ukraine that interfered in the election on behalf of Hillary Clinton. Then we get to 2018, when it's starting to look like a strong possibility that Joe Biden might be the Democratic nominee for president in 2020. In early 2018, we were providing military aid to Ukraine. This was before Russia had engaged in its second invasion. The first invasion took place in 2014 under Barack Obama, and in the eastern Ukraine and the Crimean Peninsula, we were providing military aid for them for that, and we owed them a big chunk of aid, and Trump was holding it up. And that's when there was a phone call between Trump and Zelensky, and Trump was like, yeah, I'll give you the stuff, but I'm going to need you to do me a favor first. He wanted Zelensky and his government to open up an investigation into Joe Biden and his family for corruption and money laundering and all of that kind of stuff, and bribes in Ukraine, and Zelensky said no. That phone call was recorded. A transcript of that phone call made its way to the House of Representatives, which was controlled by Democrats at the time. And they impeached Donald Trump. It was the first time that he'd been impeached. And at that time, Donald Trump was in an absolute fucking rage for having been impeached because it had only happened a couple of times before. He viewed that as the ultimate disgraceful thing to happen to him. And all of that is apart from Trump's affection for Russia and Vladimir Putin, which I think is pretty undeniable at this point. And so the United States has very strongly signaled that they are abandoning Ukraine. Zelensky should abandon the United States first and go back to Europe and make Donald Trump irrelevant in this process. Make him absolutely and completely irrelevant.